Hey guys, welcome to today's video.
I'm Alexis.
And I'm Nevaeh.
And you guys are little, I guess you can say scary story skits. So we're gonna have some true scary stories by Corp's husband playing in the background.
And we have some candles here.
His channel will be linked down below if you want to go check out his scary stories.
And we watched them last night and it was kind of creepy, but...
Okay, so this is my top 15S, not Corp's husband, but he's a part of it, so...
However, the woman who moved in downstairs from us began openly dealing drugs. People would come and go at all hours and leave, stuffing little bags of various substances into their pockets. Mostly weed, but definitely other stuff as well. They could not have been more obvious if they tried. Biggest butcher knife out of the kitchen and shouted through the door that I was calling 911 and he ran away. In hindsight, I probably should have actually called, but I was just relieved he was gone, and since bright and early the next morning, the police raided the place, and you guessed it, clean as a whistle. At first, we didn't realize the implication of this. When it started back up again a few days later, my mom called the cops again, and the same thing happened. At this point, we realized it probably wasn't about the curses of a small town. I was angry and disappointed. About a week later, I was getting ready for an evening class. I had just gotten out of the shower and I was in my bedroom in a bathrobe picking out what I wanted to wear. I heard a loud banging on the front door, but I didn't think much of it. We'd been expecting a package and the UPS man always knocked loudly. My mom's footsteps went to answer it and I hear her say something. I couldn't make out the words, but her tone caught my attention, and I felt like something was wrong. I reached for my door, but before I could open it, it flew open in my face. All my shocked brain could grasp was, huge man with a gun in my room, before I was grabbed by the shoulders and slung to the floor. I honestly thought the druggies downstairs had come to get us once and for all. I thought I would mention I'd had an issue with one of my wrists for years due to a childhood injury. I'd had it operated on twice, and this was not more than a few months after the second operation. It crunched horribly. I did what any tough person would do, and immediately burst into tears and sat there clutching my wrist, waiting to die. I guess I must not have looked very threatening like that, because he stepped back a little bit. And that's when I saw police on the front of his vest. After a short while, the cop returned and informed us, to paraphrase, "Sorry, wrong address. Happens. We can't be perfect all the time.
Bleep.
My name is Officer Shinkin. Here's my card, and you can call if you have any questions." And then he just left. I reported my teacher and classmates was reassuring. The next morning, somebody knocked on the door. When my mom answered, it was Officer Shinkin again. We said we understood that it was all a terrible mistake and that we would not be seeking legal action. She told him to go at the door, and 10 minutes later, the phone rang. It was one of the nurses at the emergency room saying somebody claiming to be law enforcement had it in. I started to find that pretty much everyone that I told my story to would get a funny look on their face and say, "This cop was his name Officer Shinkin?" And then they would launch into their own horror story about him.
Guys, look how creepy that is.
Bills for the ER visit ended up being over $7,000, and I didn't have insurance, so basically I had no choice but to file a suit. I found myself a lawyer and submitted a claim, and that's when really hit the fan. We started getting disturbing phone calls at all hours of the night. They just let it ring until the machine picked up, then immediately hung up and then did it again. Fortunately, the road was empty enough I was able to slam the brakes and pull to the side without getting in an accident. Other things started happening too. Less idea what that was supposed to accomplish. Furniture was stolen off the porch, my boots vanished when I left them out there, and oddly, several pounds of weed. Eventually, my tourist visa ran out and I had to come home. I was a complete nervous wreck and I ended up settling out of court for a relatively small sum of money just to make it over. My lawyer got 18 and the number of the unit down the street, 25, at random. The suspect was somebody with an entirely different name who looked in
spirit spray. Whoa. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up.
Subscribe down below and turn your post notifications so you don't miss any of our videos.
And when you subscribe, you'll be joining our
Pineapple Squad.
And also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter. It will also be linked down below, as well as this video that we were listening to. Thank you guys. Bye.